most wishlisted game on Steam. That's what Gamescom presenter what's-his-name told us back in August. Most wishlisted game on all of Steam. On the entirety of the world's largest gaming platform, the most wishlisted and anticipated game is not AAA, not made by hundreds of people, and not ludicrously expensive. It's full of bugs, it's made by 3 people, and most of all, it's a fucking masterpiece. So how did we get here? Hi, me again. Surely you've heard by now, either willingly or not, Silksong is out. And you don't even need to pinch yourself because I assure you, it's no dream. After 6 years of fucking nothing, the full game is out there, playable, cheap as hell, and worth the wait. And like, what the fuck else can I say? Everyone knows this. There's 500,000 people playing this game right now. 2 hours after it released, it reached 535,000 concurrent players, and that number is still going up. This dainty, nasty-ass little piece of shit of a game in 2 hours had a higher peak player count than the following games ever had: Rust, No Man's Sky, Schedule 1, Peak, Repo, Dead by Daylight, Fallout 4, Valheim, Among Us, Elden Ring, Night Rain, TF2, Ark, Payday 2, Lethal Company, Stardew Valley, Terraria. It's on the brink of surpassing Path of Exile. It's almost as much as Apex Legends. And that's even with the servers shitting the bed for like half of the release day. You were probably there when it happened, and if not, you've certainly heard about it. The moment Silksong dropped on Steam, the servers straight up just crashed. Just exploded because of bugs. Bugs. How much of a huge fucking deal do you gotta be to immediately crash Steam? Fucking Steam! I was at work when this happened, so I don't know exactly how long it took, but it doesn't really fucking matter. If it was half an hour, 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, who cares? Silksong made the Steam server so bloated, they went down. Hey Google, when was the last time a game release crashed Steam? Oh, fucking never. Okay, alright then, fuck me, I guess. I think so far, with 3 months still to go, we can establish 2025 as one of the greatest years for gaming ever. I don't know, question mark. So far in the year, we've gotten Deltarune, Doom Dark Ages, Split Fiction, Oblivion Remastered, DK Bonanza, Monster Hunter Wilds, Elden Ring Night Rain, Expedition 33, fucking TF2 Comic 7 of all things, and now this? The only thing that would make this list better is if Borderlands 4 was slated to release this year as well. A lot of people got to play Silksong months and months and even years before its release through the occasional demos we saw at game conferences. But I am a nasty, dirty third worlder. I have no such privilege. They were already speedrunning the demo, but I ain't got none of that. Am I angry? Oh, you have no idea. Therefore, my experience was as blind as you could maybe possibly get. That's to say, I lied, okay? I knew a little bit of what to expect. Lace is here. Somewhere. I'm pretty sure. I didn't know what Silksong was going to play like, but I did have my own questions, which I'm sure a lot of other players also had. How different is Hornet going to be from the Knight? How would she be treated given that she's somewhat of a famous character? How would exploration be improved on? What new skills, dynamics, objectives can we expect from the game? And most of all, why is this guy called Jerma? Can Silksong surpass the mountainous hype it built over the half-decade of silence we were dealt since 2019? Let's take a look. Grab my hand and play Silksong with me. Please, I need help. I can't beat Morrowind. I really like Metroidvanias. It's one of my favorite genres ever, and I have played quite a few of them. Still though, to this day, none of them have touched me in the same way that Hollow Knight did. That being very weirdly in when I was 14. Hollow Knight is by all means a masterpiece of modern gaming, and one of the most rewarding experiences ever, period. I'm not gonna be the first person to tell you that, you probably agree with me. But also, and something which only serves to amplify my love for the game, I understand that Metroidvanias are a really difficult genre to get right. Everyone knows the basic structure and fundamentals of what defines the genre, but if you can't build correctly around these fundamentals, you make players angry. And angry players complain on Reddit. And we don't want that, nuh-uh, we need that good PR. It's no wonder that so many developers out there just blatantly steal and copy so many features from Hollow Knight. You can't get it wrong if everyone before you got it right. Given this, however, how exactly does Silksong build on top of the framework Hollow Knight set all those years ago? Well, I can confidently say, pretty damn well. Is that even a surprise? There's a few things you gotta expect from the sequel to a game. Make it better, a given. Expand on the story, the characters, and of course, fanservice. Silksong so far seems like not only more of the same, but also more on top of the same. That's to say, it's in all senses very much what a sequel should be. In my objective opinion, Silksong does two things much better than Hollow Knight, a game which already did so many things near perfectly. That would be be the evolution of its art style and the attention to detail. The art style for Silksong is the exact type you would expect, even if it did change a slight bit from the trailers. According to what I've heard, it wasn't a drastic departure or something. Swap Hornet by the Knight and it'll feel like Homeless again. It's that consistent. I feel though like Farloom is not only an evolution of the art style, but just better looking in general. Though I feel like that's very hard to justify or even prove, given how Hollow Knight was always jaw-dropping. I am still grappling with that idea. I'm not sure. Also, Farloom is very grim. Hollow Knight was once, maybe twice, a bit scary, if even that. Deep Nest is not that scary, and Nosk is a pushover at best. In Silksong, it seems you can't go 3 steps without shitting your pants. Attention to detail, on the other hand, is something which rarely goes wrong. Hollow Knight had a lot of that already. The sort of thing that doesn't make a game bad if it's not there, but if it's there, just makes it that much memorable. And Silksong has that in spades, because it seems like Team Cherry not only became better artists and developers throughout the last decade, but also learned how physics work. Setting aside how Hornet is much more expressive and acrobatic than the Knight could ever dream of and actually speaks, Farloom in contrast to Hallownest is like a 5-star hotel with mood lighting, heated floorboards, and worms. Oh god, the worms. Most things under Hornet's feet react to her step, like moss, bones, bells. The hanging bells especially also look fantastic. They sound a bit weird though. Hanging signs react to being touched, the scenery is more breakable than ever. They weaponized my need to destroy the background. When you die or take damage from an enemy, there's now a bigger chance of having a custom animation for receiving an attack or dying than not. You can get infected with the maggots. And how about those animations, huh? How about them? They good. They real good. I like animation. Animation good. Hornet Flip. The moveset Team Cherry gave to the Knight was perfect for the game it was in. It was concise, simple, easy to understand, and satisfying to master. It made sense for who the Knight as a character is in general. However, in spite of that, the Knight's movement is also considered by people to be very limited. I don't subscribe to that idea. Like at all, but it's important to acknowledge given what Hornet has differently from this tiny piece of shit. Hornet is inherently a very lateral character. She can not only dash, but dash downwards, which you needed a charm for before, run real fast and hang onto ledges automatically, which you can also jump off of for extra height, and accessing previously inaccessible places. Hornet will also, while running, automatically vault over small ledges, which is a neat point I wish a lot more games had. She can also glide in her best impression of Mary Poppins, ride wind currents, play the guitar. Sorry, that's all I have up to now. And every single one of these is accompanied by brand new, incredibly pretty and satisfying animations. Healing's changed altogether. You're still as vulnerable as ever, but now Hornet heals 3 mass at once while at a full spool of silk, and she can also do it mid-air. Being able to heal mid-air, by the way, has saved me more times than I can count. When I panicked, I accidentally pressed circle, and I dodged attacks. I've abused this so much, it sometimes feels like an exploit. And where Hollow Knight had charms, Silksong has tools and crests. Crests are essentially different playstyles. Well, not essentially, it's literally what they are. Instead of adding onto her existing playstyle to make it essentially an entirely new one, Hornet can instead alternate between set different playstyles. I like this. I think it's neat. It removes a lot of the clunkiness of having to sit on a bench and mess with your charms, since each crest leaves its configuration saved, with the counterpoint being the sheer amount of charms allowed for much more customization in Hollow Knight. Tools are a bit reminiscent of charms, but a little diluted in functionality and amount. There's 4 different colors, essentially tool types, and each crest has a limited amount of colors you can equip. Again, a very welcome change. I don't prefer neither over the other, but this is pretty fun to toy around with also. I'm pretty sure there's something for everyone here, even if it takes a while to find a new crest altogether. Hornet, being an entirely different character with alternating playstyles, makes for some pretty high-octane action and incredibly satisfying platforming, vertically and especially horizontally. Bottom line, I like the changes Team Cherry gave her. That doesn't stop me from being the worst Silksong player in existence. Being one of the most hyped games of the decade and certainly ever, it's no wonder people expected a lot from Silksong. If I'm being honest, if Team Cherry felt the pressure of this, half of it was by their own doing. With the incredible marketing strategy of silence, people just grew more and more and more anxious. And anxiety is no good. It gives me heart palpitations, which I then use as an excuse to skip on college. But now the game is out, and we can judge it accordingly. Judge, like the last one, Oh hell yeah, I haven't reached that one yet. Much like Hollow Knight when it first released and eventually became popular, people have taken a huge plethora of divisive stances and opinions regarding the game. To be expected, of course, but something being expected doesn't exactly mean warranted, which makes it surprising for me to see just how much pushback Silksong got at first. So, was it warranted? I don't know, I'm writing this as it's happening, I haven't seen it yet. One of my main fears regarding the release of Silksong was not only if they were going to live up to the hype, but like, oh fuck, what if the game is straight up worse? It isn't, of course, but it was scary to think of. Still, while I anticipated the game would get some attention for how divisive it would make epic gamers once again, I didn't expect it to happen like so quickly. I took the liberty of relieving myself from my sanity by looking at Silksong's negative reviews page on Steam. And apart from the people who blatantly misunderstand the genre, as always, and some sort of controversy about the Chinese localization being straight up poop, something else people kept hammering on is unfortunately one of the few things I kind of agree with: the diagonal downwards pogo. My early take was that I hate the diagonal downwards pogo. I don't like it. But now I've used a little bit more of it, and I can say confidently that I don't hate the existence of the diagonal downwards pogo. No, I think, given Hornet's moveset, this is the nicest way of making the game flow naturally, and especially in horizontal areas, it looks and feels brilliant. When it works, it looks amazing. It's very satisfying, it's bouncy, the height is just right. I like it. But also, and a little bit of a spoiler ad-lib here, the diagonal downwards pogo is the only type of downwards attack for the first crest you get. To get another type of downwards attack, you need to change crests, which also change your attacks. However, the game initially does not tell you that. The game doesn't tell you that different crests do different sorts of attacks. So until you get your second crest, this is the downward attack you're stuck with. So it's no wonder that people felt, I don't know, attacked by this change. The game doesn't tell you this could possibly change at some point later on. You just kind of assume you're staying with this for the rest of the game. Meaning that to attack something directly under you, until then, you either get really close to them and attack, or you do linear algebra. It took a while to get used to it, and even then, there were points in time after hours of playing that I couldn't get it to work right. Hunter's March is especially painful because it's early game. You don't know how to play the game yet, and you think you know what a diagonal angle is. You think you know what 45 degrees means. Shit. I am not joking when I say I don't think I ever saw this many people struggle with the exact same area. Also, I'm not sure if this is just my experience with Hollow Knight talking, but Silksong is really difficult. Like, what the fuck? Or punishing, whatever. For context, here are my Hollow Knight credentials. I think they look pretty nice. That in mind, I cannot tell you the amount of times I thought a regular-ass strong enemy was a fucking boss encounter. Or how many times, twice, I defeated a boss in one try, but struggled against the random-ass enemy guarding the area. This guy, by the way, is the bane of everyone's existence now. To be fair though, while most people would expect to go into Silksong thinking it's just more Hollow Knight, Hornet very much does not play like the Knight, and Farloom is intentionally not designed like Hellnest. I, like many others, fell victim to initially playing Silksong as if I were playing Hollow Knight, even after recognizing how Hornet's moveset is much different, and let's face it, stronger than the Knight's. I wasn't running, just dashing. I didn't heal midair. When I got the glide, I didn't really use it all that much. When battling, it was clearly a miss, like relearning to play a game you last touched a decade ago. A lot of the game's difficulties, and seemingly most of the negative reviews on Steam, stem purely from the fact that Hornet is a different character with a different gameplay style, or styles altogether, and people didn't expect that. Like, could you do this in Hollow Knight? I didn't think so, but just understanding how Hornet controls and functions does in fact not mean the game will be easy. Sure, it'll be easier, but it will not be easy, and it will be punishing. For instance, making money in Farloom is like making money in real life. It's really fucking difficult. Farloom has two main currencies to collect, but only one of those is used for trade. The other one is used to fix tools. With anyone and anything all around the place, you need rosaries, which you can find or acquire through various means. And enemies do drop rosaries, sure, but only enemies that would make sense to have an actual currency with them. or crows. Unlike wild animals in Hell Nest having millions upon millions of dollars they don't even know how they got nor how to spend. However, this place's economy is in shambles because Farloom is anti-homeless and everything costs money, but no one has it. I've never felt this way in Hollow Knight, but in Silksong it wasn't really that uncommon to find chakra and just not have the currency to buy a map. I might need a credit card. Fucking monthly installments. Things rarely come for free in this world. And that's a gut punch you'll have to take a few times before truly getting used to it. In that sense, Farloom is like real life. Also, don't even get me started on how rosaries have rolling physics akin to a Rocket League ball. You might expect this guy to drop like 19 of them, but surprise, 10 of them have rolled off the cliff and are now buried in quicksand. Good fucking luck finding your pocket change now, asshole. Also, rosaries get destroyed on spikes but somehow float? What are they made of? I've also seen this image on Reddit, and boy, let me tell you, big guy, 2 masks. Environment, 2 masks. Regular ass enemy with scissors, 2 masks. Flying boss that plummets to the floor after being staggered and still damages you. Boy, you better believe! Farloom hates Hornet with the same amount of wrathful strength as imprisoned gods. Get ready to fight some random ass enemy, just kidding, it's pure vessel. And now, I present to you how it feels to play Hollow Knight Silksong. Oh look, a bench. A few lesser complaints that I have. The compass is for some reason still unequipable instead of a permanent item. Nobody liked this in Hollow Knight and I don't understand why it's still an item here. Why do you exist? They also haven't really tackled the run back to some bosses in a meaningful way like I expected. Although I did defeat a lot of them on one try, so I could be a little biased. This is something I've seen countless differing opinions on about from people who are probably way further in the game than I am. And like, yeah, it's not always the hardest thing to do. A lot of the times it is pretty easy. A lot of the times it is very close by. But like, 20 seconds adds up, man. When the run back is longer than the time I spent fighting the boss, it starts to feel a bit insulting, don't you think? People have complained about the seeming lack of rewards when fighting bosses, and although it's something I did notice, for some reason it didn't affect me as much. Maybe it's because overall Silksong seems to have less stuff to find and collect than Hollow Knight. I think there's a relic guy somewhere that buys relics like Lim, but I didn't find anyone like that just yet. Or it might be because rewards in Silksong are straight up just different. I'm not sure yet. I might need more time to think about that. It also feels like iframes are a little shorter than before, which at first is annoying but quickly becomes a skill issue like most things regarding the game's difficulty. And finally, I feel like the readability of taking 1 mask of damage versus 2 masks of damage is a bit hazy, much like being at 1 mask of health versus 2. When at 2 masks now, there's a brief moment where your screen border is going to have a different pattern, probably because more things deal 2 masks now, and it threw me off a bit before I got used to it. Even then, I still messed up when this happens. It often felt like I didn't know how much damage I just took, so I have to glance up when fighting. Oh shit, I'm dead. I have a pretty large monitor, the game is a bit dark. I think a little more transparency would be nice, that's all. Do I want Team Cherry to change anything regarding the game's difficulty though? Not really, no. Even if I think the game is all sorts of difficult and it has some pretty nasty flaws, which I think it has, the solution to most of those things is unfortunately get good. If Team Cherry wanted it to be that way, well, that's their vision and it's their game. They probably had a reason to make it that way. At its very soul and core, no matter how different Hornet plays, Silksong is still Hollow Knight. Many of the principles you could apply to become a better player there, and a better player in games overall, still apply to Silksong. There's always one way or another of memorizing locations, learning enemy attacks, learning boss patterns, exercising patience and rush when necessary, and so on and so on. I understand though, you might not like this. I certainly took a while to get used to it, but if you're not like me, just mod the game. I assure you, no one's gonna care. Here, go wild. So yeah, game good. Are you surprised, like, at all? Initially, this video was going to be a brief analysis on what led Team Cherry to market Silksong in the way they did, and how that affects the mentality of your fans. Boring! So here's my full-blown first impressions of Hollow Knight Silksong. I hope you liked it, and I hope you liked the game as well, despite the existence of this motherfucker. Thanks for watching, and, bye!